Hey, welcome back everybody to another episode of the Up North Journal. I'm sitting here in the cabin tonight. Mike Adams, along with Dan DeFaw and the UP. Danny, what is going on, my man?
What is happening down south?
Well, first off, it's not Sunday night. This is Wednesday night. We're doing a special pre-record. We've got a guest that's waiting in the wings anxiously, but we're getting ready to do a pre-recorded show so we can all three of us get outside and play this weekend and not have to worry about coming in on a holiday weekend and doing a show. So
absolutely.
So with that being said, Danny, you want to go ahead and let's run through the people who help us.
You know what? We should, because we always like to help our listeners with a discount, and helps our sponsors who help us help them. So anyways, nothing like starting off with Rebel 6 rubs. I had some chicken tonight for dinner. Yeah, I use Rebel 6 rubs. You need to go out and check it out at the Rebel 6 rubs website, rebel6rubs.com. And guess what? If you use our promo code
North Journal,
you can get
20% off.
There you go. On the checkout, use those promo codes at their website, get your discount. But that's not all, because you're using Rebel 6 rubs, you got to wash it down. How about with some Hunter's Blend coffee? That's right. Go over to huntersblendcoffee.com, use the promo code
UNJ, capital UNJ that is.
That's right, and then you can get
10% off your order.
There you go, and then you can wash down your Rebel 6 rubs, Hunter's Blend coffee. You know, after dinner, you got some little time on your hands, rest and relaxation. How about heading over to Buck's Baits? It's that time of year. We're only less than 90 days away, I think, from bow season here in Michigan. Start checking out their lineup, and if you use our promo code
Up North Journal,
you can get
20% there as well.
Absolutely. So you got your rubs, you got your coffee to drink, and then you can do a little shopping at Buck Baits.
Doesn't get any better than that. I'm telling you, folks, get over there, do some shopping, help people who help us.
Absolutely.
And you know what, Dave? We pull that off pretty good. I mean, we're sitting here back and forth, and you're not even in the cabin.
I know.
So, but I'll tell you what, without further ado, let's just jump into the show tonight. You know, we've had this guest on before, but we want to invite him back, and Ellary TuckerWilliams, I'm sorry, not Williamson, but Williams, joins us all the way from Nampa, Idaho. Is that right?
Yep, that's where I'm at these days.
Okay, I didn't know if that's how I pronounced it or not. It's Nampa, right?
Yep.
Kind of like Tampa, but with an N.
Yep, kind of like wine country, but they add an M in there.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll take that. Actually, we want to talk to you about a couple things tonight. You know, we've got a lot of COVID stuff still going on. You know, matter of fact, here in Michigan tonight, they closed all the drinking establishments back down again due to that kind of stuff. But we got the 4th of July weekend here. We are pre-recording, but you know, we're right in the middle of the 4th of July season, and we want to talk about the outdoors. You guys come out with the Congressional Sportsmen Foundation, who you work for, has come out with a campaign of sorts about getting into the outdoors safely and responsibly, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, CSF, in partnership with a couple of organizations, including National Wild Turkey Federation, Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership, Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, Trout Unlimited, who else? American Sport Fishing Association, Dallas Safari Club, and the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies kind of all came together for this campaign that we call #Responsible Recreation.
That's a mouthful.
It is, but it kind of really shows you the importance of this issue, because it brings together so many different organizations that are really focused on conservation, wildlife, hunting, fishing, all of those things that really came together because there was a need. And that need was that with all this COVID business going on and having to, you know, stay at home orders and needing to find alternative activities and things were kind of shutting down, it was really a need to make sure that our Americans' access to public lands remained still intact including hunting and fishing and recreational shooting amidst all the COVID closures. So that's really what responsible recreation is about. It's about maintaining our access to the outdoors and our beloved traditions by acting responsibly while in the field.
Okay, I got the slide up. Go to www.responsible-recreation.org to learn more. So you've got a website on this to kind of give the whole layout of what you're trying to get across here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's really fairly simple. I mean, sportsmen and women have kind of been the kings and queens of social distancing per se for a long time, but it's really about setting a good example when you go outdoors, maintaining proper social distancing, following CDC guidelines, being sure to pack out your trash so it doesn't give the appearance of overuse, things of those nature, just kind of basic tenets that we really all should already be doing, but just in case you aren't, just a friendly reminder, education to do so that way that our access to the outdoors and those activities don't get taken away. Because when all this COVID business started, states that were trying to control the spread, flatten the curve, all those things, they really, some of the states really started limiting access to the outdoors, and that's really what kind of brought this issue to our attention.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. Danny and I, we talked about this a lot. I mean, Danny, you as well as myself know what they did to people here in the state of Michigan with recreational boating, with motors on the boat. They said...
that's one thing. They started with boaters and at the over at the Seven Lakes, they were closing up the bathrooms and shutting everything down, and it was just interesting to say the least.
Yeah, they wanted us to get outside, go enjoy the parks, but the vault toilets they shut, and they brought porta potties out that still had to be cleaned, and we never did really understand why that happened in that way, but the park rangers were making sure people were staying social distance. They wouldn't let you request or make a reservation for like a pavilion for maybe a family reunion or what have you, and then you could canoe, you could kayak, or you could use an electric trolling motor, but you couldn't use any motorized boats at all in the state. So I guess we kind of ran through that whole gamut, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And that a lot similar things happen, kind of throughout the country. Like specifically here in Idaho, they didn't allow non-resident spring turkey hunting, just to not have influx of people from out of state. Washington and Illinois, for example, had blanket closures, which was a pretty big deal. They closed turkey season initially for a good chunk of the season. Fishing was shut down. All sorts of closures were done. Trailheads were closed. But thankfully, in Michigan and as well as the other states like Washington, CSF was very involved in working with the state agencies and governor's offices and legislative sportsmen's caucuses to kind of help turn those things around and get those things back open and available to the public, as long as people were being responsible about it.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of or hear of a lot of pushback of people saying, you know what, I don't care what they say, I'm going to go do what I'm going to go do? And or was most of the outdoorsmen, which I hope that we all behaved, so to speak.
Right. I definitely think it varies. It definitely varies. There's a lot of people that were upset, like when turkey season was closed. My brother, whom you are very well acquainted with, was less than amused, to say the least.
Him and I talk quite a bit about that online.
Yeah, so he was definitely less than amused. But a lot of it was blowing off steam, I think. It's just a lot of people that were upset, but ultimately listened. So that was good, but definitely there was a lot of uproar from the sporting community, which in turn helped to, switch things around. And Washington did have a later turkey season, a short later turkey season, and they've opened fishing back up and things like that. So it definitely, the sportsman's voice was heard.
Heard loud and clear. Good. Well, that's good to know too, and good to know that, the Congressional Sportsmen Foundation, all of y'all there were fighting on our behalf up on Capitol Hill, at least on the federal level. Did I assume as well you guys were really pushing back too on a state level?
It was mostly state level. Okay. Actually, just because the statewide closures or whatnot were from governor's offices, so it was really a state-led effort. I think we sent over 300 letters throughout the country to every governor's office, every single sportsman's caucus, every state fish and game agency, which resulted in, I think, over 300 letters expressing the need to keep access open, that it's a good way for people to get outside and kind of escape being cooped up inside for too long. Not to mention the mental and physical benefits that everyone gets when they go outside and participate in these activities.
Right.
And it's a really good opportunity for R3. So hunter and fisherman and shooter retention, reactivation. Let's see, R3. Recruitment, retention, and reactivation.
There you go.
And I tell you what,
you're getting there.
That was one of the things here in the state of Michigan alone. Besides that need to get out, to get yourself away from the four walls, from the top to the bottom of the state, there was a considerable difference of opinion whether you were in the southern lower to the Upper Peninsula, and vice versa. And it was one of those things. It really started to play on your psyche when you couldn't. They didn't want you to. You were like, I need to get out. I myself was out walking 5 miles a day just to get that 2 hours of get me out of the house because I can't go anywhere else and deal with it.
Yeah,
it's definitely a mind game when you're told you can't do something.
Well, yeah, you want to do exactly what the opposite, at that point, and there was travel. It really wasn't travel restrictions, but there was and it wasn't. They didn't want you couldn't travel to your second home or your cabin, or whatever up north. We've got hunting land up north. They didn't want you traveling, and they were really poo-pooing that as well. It had been really interesting to see. I mean, Michigan, we've kind of been in the national news a lot lately, but back when this all kind of started, the Second Amendment people really went, no pun intended, up in arms and marched on the Capitol, and actually, it became national news. I would have liked to have seen maybe a more organized effort here by hunters and fishermen at that point, maybe to, hook your boat up to your truck and let's drive around the Capitol with all of our boats. And let's show people, how many people, we've actually got out here that are really ticked off, and make a statement that way. Because I've seen other people do, there's other marches and things going on, especially right now across the United States. But if the sportsmen would gather like that and rise up and do it peacefully and make a statement, I think that'd be powerful.
It's definitely powerful. I mean, sportsmen have traditionally been more, they're very passionate what they do, but they don't tend to really want to get in the spotlight. They just want to go out in the woods, be away from people,
be left alone.
Be left alone.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, there's times when there needs to be a unified voice.
Right.
And there's times when people need to rise to the occasion and express, that these are our public lands. We pay for conservation on them. They're very important to us, and if we can utilize those resources in a responsible way, # responsible recreation, then we should be allowed to do so.
I've got some more slides here that I do want to show, but I tell you what, let's go ahead. We'll take our first break, and let's really kind of dive into this the responsible recreation agenda or platform that you guys have, and talk a little more about that when we come back. So we're going to step outside. We'll take our first break, and we'll be right back after this. Okay, normally right now on the live stream, if you're watching, this is pre-recorded, so we're just going to jump back into the second segment here and continue.
Next segment.
Yeah, as soon as I save this one off here. So,
And then we can get into responsible recreation, an interesting hashtag, because I got a pet peeve and it really peeves me.
You do? You're always peeved about something.
Hey, I get peeved, you get on a soapbox.
That's right. I see what he's trying to do, Ellie. He's trying to get me aggravated here. He wants to get me jumped up on a soapbox. So, all right, hang on one second here, and here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back, second segment of the show. We're talking with Ellary TuckerWilliams, all the way from Nampa, Idaho. She is the Western States Coordinator of the Congressional Sportsmen Foundation. Did I get that right?
The Intermountain. I do the Rockies.
The Intermountain. Okay. All right. So we've been talking about responsible recreating, the hashtags and the platform that they've got going. But right when we went to break, or during the break, Danny said he wanted to talk about something. So I'm going to turn him loose. Go ahead, Danny. What do you got?
Ellary was talking about responsible recreation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's summertime. It's nice. You get out to do some fishing. I've been doing fishing this week. There's nothing worse than when I go for a walk around the lake over at the state park and I see floating in the water at the bottom of the water in the shallow end or laying on the shore, mm-hmm. empty containers of worms. Really?
Right.
You let them get in the water. You can't pick it up. You can't throw it out. Really? Let's try being a little bit responsible and cleaning that stuff up.
Yep.
Well, it just goes back to the old adage, the old saying, leave it better than what you found it. It's pretty simple.
That's simple, huh? Not for some people.
And it just it's not good for the water. It's not good. Plastics in the water. I mean, we've talked about that with Yamaha Motors. They're doing the big push with their what is that called, Danny?
Right Waters.
Right Waters initiative, where they're pulling the plastics out of the water. So this kind of all goes hand in hand. And actually, when we were talking with them, Ellary, we mentioned Chris Horton, and they knew of Chris. So there was that good connection there between y'all and them. So we're all talking about the same thing, doing the same thing here. So, but let's dive into this a little bit. One of the things that kind of struck me, I want to find the slide on it here if I can, real quick, as we're talking. I should have had this up already, but I don't. But it was talking about respectful on social media. I mean, come on. We're our own worst enemy a lot of the times. Talk a little bit about this and what you guys mean by this.
Absolutely. So, we all like to go outside, love to take pictures, love to document, the big fish that we caught or the cool animal we saw or just having fun outside. And it's just important that, as we try to recreate responsibly in the outdoors, that when you do share your adventures on social media, that you're portraying in those photos the responsible activities in which you're preaching. So it's, you can't say go outside and don't leave trash, and then you take a picture and there's, cans or worms floating in the water behind you. So it's just making sure that you're respectfully and promoting this idea of responsible recreation on social media, as opposed to, like you said, being our worst enemy.
Right. Be cognizant of what you have around you and what you're showing in the photo, as well as with the game animal itself. I mean,
yep.
We've all been really cognizant of that here in the last 5-10 years about how to take take a photo to not offend the non-hunting or fishing public out there. And it's like, well, I don't care, who I offend with that. They don't, well, yeah, because it might be somebody on the fence, and that's the thing we want. We want to get more people involved in this. So that's the things we need to think about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's definitely one of those things where it just takes one picture and one thing to be misconstrued and it can blow up, and it's just not something that you want to give those people that are on the fence or the people that have already decided that hunting and fishing is not something that they support, to use that against the entire community, which is not representative of all of us. So that's definitely something that we need to be cognizant of.
Well, there's another part here that I really liked, especially with COVID going on right now. Plan ahead, purchase a license, and passes online to avoid overcrowding of public lands. I think it kind of kills two birds with one stone there, so to speak. You know, you don't have the overcrowding of the public lands. You know, maybe stay close to home. If you've got property, recreate on your own property. But also, if you do it online, you don't have to go to the store and put yourself amongst other people where you might catch the Rona, as we say.
Yes. Or if you have it and you're asymptomatic, not spread it around.
Exactly. So,
Ellary, a question for you about this initiative, being responsible and stuff. Is this something that you can turn towards the younger generation in schools and stuff to start to educate them on being responsible when they go outdoors, whether it be starting with their backyard and then just getting bigger as they get older? Is this something we can point to an education?
Absolutely. I definitely think that it could be tailored that way. I mean, it started off just with COVID-19 and trying to make sure that our access to our lands doesn't get taken away and our activities. But I absolutely think that it could easily be tailored to some type of educational platform to really start young and teaching people how to properly engage with the outdoors and our public lands, and making sure that we're being good stewards of the lands and our activities. Absolutely.
That's kind of where I was going to go with that, because I wouldn't mind seeing a grade school class pick whatever grade that week and have them go walk over outdoors, maybe help pick up the trash at the state park or wherever they might be able to go for a couple hours, just to educate them that, hey, it's out there to go enjoy, and while you're out there enjoying it, let's keep it clean and be responsible about it.
Absolutely. That's actually a wonderful idea. I might have to steal that from you and see what CSF can see what we can work into it.
There you go. That's awesome. You know, talk a little bit about taking the pledge. What is taking the pledge? I mean, we obviously know taking a pledge to do that, but I mean, what more can we do besides say, hey, I'm going to recreate responsibly?
I mean, it's as simple as that. Is you can go online. We have a pledge where you say, I pledge to to engage in responsible recreation. But you can do all sorts of things. It's just about walking the talk.
Okay, and there was another one here talking about what's your catch of the day. Is that just to promote more of the fishing side, to take a picture, whether it's catch and release or whether you take it home and cook it and eat it?
Yeah, all of it. So it's definitely sorry, my dog just came in.
That's okay. No, we like pets on the show. That's fine.
Sit. She's been outside, so she's feeling a little neglected. But what's your catch of the day is basically telling people that they can take a wonderful photo of their fish, spread it out there to social media. You can put hashtag responsible recreation and just show people that you can get outside. It's really fun. Encourage other people to do so, but again, doing it in a responsible manner.
Okay, and that goes along with the trade the inside for the outside as well.
Yep, exactly. And like I said earlier, a silver lining to COVID, if you want to call it that, is that it's really helped our R3 efforts. So, we don't have numbers nationwide, but Minnesota has sold more than 100,000 fishing licenses at this point in the year than they did last year.
Wow, okay.
And North Dakota is reporting that they've seen an increase of 37% in their license sales as well. Mm-hmm. So I think that with people having less activities that they can go do regularly, like you said, going out to eat or going to the bars or concerts or what mm-hmm. have you, that they're really starting to look for alternative activities.
Right.
And fishing now, hunting coming up, recreational shooting, all these things are kind of resurfacing, and we're really seeing a potential for a new generation of sportsmen and women, which is really encouraging. And it definitely then plays into benefiting our conservation and wildlife management through the American System of Conservation.
You know, I just thought of something I was going to ask you, and you led right into it. But I tell you what, before we get into, because I think it might take a little bit, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back and we'll continue this in the next segment. How about that?
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right, we're going to step outside. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back after this. And now is when Danny usually says, everybody get your questions in, but we're pre-recorded, don't forget. So,
you know what? If you're watching the show and you come up with a question,
post it.
We'll post it and we'll get it to Ellary and see if we can't get her to give us a response, and we'll pass along to everybody out there.
There you go.
Now that I know she's stealing my idea.
It's a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. And now,
I really
we've had conversations at CSF just about, you know, what next, because as this started because of COVID, but then we've really seen the utility of what are the next steps in continuing to promote responsible recreation, because it can only benefit the sportsmen and women community.
Well, absolutely, and I really think that we need to get on the education side and go after the younger generation. And I'm talking starting younger in elementary, where you can even call it a picnic, but you know, get them out there, have a guest speaker, the local DNR officer, whoever it might be, give a little speech before you do a little activity of the outdoors, and just start bringing them up that the outdoors is a good place and a clean place, and you feel better when you come back out of it.
Absolutely.
I think, though, if you do this and you take his idea, you're going to have to call it the default initiative.
Hey, we can work something out, I bet.
All right, here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. You know, for those of you people that are listening to this on the podcast instead of watching the live stream, you really got to go back and watch the re-airing of these things, because we have a lot of fun in the break.
We do.
And that's all we're going to say about that, because Danny's trying to get his name put on an initiative here, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Now, kind of getting back to you're talking about with all of this, bringing new people in, and it's going to help the outdoors, and help conservation and recreation, the whole 9 yards. What I've heard across the board here lately, and Danny can testify to the same thing, because we've talked about it on the show, especially right now because it's fishing season, that you can't find a kayak, you can't find life jackets, you can't find tackle, you can't find rod and reels, because everybody's buying them, like you said, with the fishing license. I've got to think that the Pittman-Robertson and the Johnson-Dingle funds are just going to grow exponentially this year because of that. Do you think that's the case?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like we mentioned, Minnesota alone had over 100,000 more fishing licenses at this point this year than they did last year. So their conservation funding is going to be much more significant, and similar trends are being seen elsewhere. So, like, what was it? Alabama saw a 50% increase in hunters using WMAs, or wildlife management areas, during spring turkey season than they did previously. So it kind of also circles back around and is all connected again back to responsible recreation, because as you have this increase in people being either first time interested in the outdoors, or people that are being reactivated into the outdoors because all of a sudden they have all this time on their hands, whether it's home because they're they can't go into the office anymore, kids aren't in school anymore. And so it circles all back around, because you're having this influx of people to the outdoors and to these different activities. And then you're going to have increased use, increased crowding, and all these different things. So it's important that while COVID is, in a sense, promoting the outdoors and getting people outside, it's important to make sure that people new to the activities and new to the outdoors are educated and being responsible when they're recreating outside.
That's a great point, because we talk a lot about the reactivation, especially people that were out of work, but, what do? They give everybody a call. Hey, you said you wanted to go turkey hunting. We're not working. Hey, go with me. I'm going to teach you, and I think that's probably that's on us hunters, really to start trying to educate people more, along with the organizations like yours and all the others out there, because you don't want it to look like Miami Beach or down there in the Ozarks at that Lake of the Ozarks with everybody together, on public land. I mean, you want them to enjoy the public land, but we've got to do it responsibly, like you said.
Right, and otherwise we're all going to be impacted if things get shut down because people aren't being responsible about it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's all about us collectively looking out for each other and making sure that we collectively take care and are responsible outdoors, so that way we can all continue to keep enjoying hunting, fishing, recreational shooting, hiking. I mean, there's lots of people use public lands, not just sportsmen and women, so we all need to help take care of it and make sure that we don't become the reason why things get shut down.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is like you start getting these areas crowded, and crowded for hunters is different than social distancing. Because I put a picture of myself in a tree stand here last week, and I had my face mask on. I said, us hunters have been practicing social distancing for years before it was even cool, So, but you don't want to encroach upon other hunters, and even fishermen in a boat. There's that unwritten rule of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, where you get inside somebody's fishing bubble or hunting bubble, so to speak.
Right. Absolutely.
So
get the dirty looks, that's for sure.
It would be interesting to see the influx of all the monies that are flowing into right now, obviously fishing season, because I know over at the local stores they seem to be running low on the fishing gear itself. And I know walking over at the state parks, the influx of just people in general and cars has grown exponentially for the springtime. Usually when I'm over there spring turkey hunting, you barely ever see anybody, but not this time around. It was busy all spring long. So it'd be interesting to see the two things, the influx of money into the sportings, and also how many people ran out and purchased the park stamp for their license when they never did before.
Right.
Well,
right. It will be interesting.
My son this weekend, both my sons wanted to go kayaking, and they loaded everything up. And as we're getting ready to pull out the driveway, I look at the back of his plate and I go, "Hey, stop!" And he's what? And I said, "You ain't got a park sticker." I said, "Stop and buy one, on the way through." I said, "They're going to ticket you. You got to have it," because, like Danny said, there's probably a lot of people who are using the parks now, maybe that never have before. So, and it's not just hunting and fishing, like you said.
No.
It's hiking, camping, kayaking, horseback riding. I mean, there's all kinds of things in the outdoors that people, use the outdoors for. That we're all in this together.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to shift gears just a little bit in the time we got left here, and just touch on it briefly. There was a couple weeks ago we had the Outdoors Act that was passed, and then I just got today on my phone an email from you guys, the Congressional Sportsmen Foundation, about the American Wildlife Restoration Act that you guys are pushing. Can you touch on both of those just a little bit and what they mean for the outdoorsman?
Absolutely. So the Great American Outdoors Act basically helps to fund infrastructure backlogs and things like that in national parks. Originally, it didn't have any language in it for like public lands like BLM or Forest Service lands and things like that. So CSF was really active in making sure that in this Great American Outdoors Act that money was set aside to be able to use for our public lands and our federal agencies in order to help with maintenance backlog, but also promote access and things like that.
Okay, all right. And now that was the one that was just passed, the Outdoors Act, correct?
Yeah, the Great American Outdoors Act. Yep, it was just through the Senate. Yep.
That one went through the Senate. Is it went through the House yet, or no?
I do not believe the House yet, no.
Okay, and then the other one's in the House, but not through the Senate yet, correct?
Correct, and that is RAWA, Recovering America's Outdoors Act, which got, I believe, added into the transportation bill.
Okay.
I believe. And that one basically is increased funding for state agencies in order to, be more effective at what they do for conservation and whatnot. So It's just providing them with more money in order to continue to do what they do and to do it more effectively.
Okay. And is that, I mean, and you may or may not know the answer to this question. I'm digging just a little deeper, but those monies are where, do you know where those monies are coming from by chance?
Let's see. I believe, should know this. Let me pull it out of my brain here real quick. I believe they are federally appropriated, but they're from, let's see, it's from the...
That's okay if I put you on the spot.
It's oil and gas taxes is for one, and I can't remember quite what the other is.
I believe that was the first one. If I remember, once you said that, I do remember that now. It's coming off of the oil, like the pipelines and the platforms and things of that nature. Yeah, that's right. So we're seeing a little bit of money coming off of that for outdoorsmen, which is good, and it's receiving bipartisan support as well.
Yes.
Which is very good.
Both are, which is very important. It's definitely one of those things where you don't, CSF is bipartisan organization, and so it's really wonderful when we get pieces of legislation that have bipartisan support. Mm-hmm. Because, like we were saying, outdoors is for everybody. Doesn't really matter what side of the aisle that you're on. We all want to take care of the outdoors. We want to all continue to have access to the outdoors, and that doesn't really come into play as far as what side of the aisle you're on.
That's right. When I go in the outdoors, I don't want politics in it at all. That's right now. That's the last thing I want to deal with.
Right.
It's called recreation and relaxation.
Right. Exactly.
Mike, you brought up a good point. You got an email. Ellary, is there somewhere our listeners can go to sign up to get a newsletter, just as Mike did, to get information as it comes out, so they get up to date and find out what's going on that you're all about in Washington?
Absolutely. So it's called the Sportsman's Voice. It's our weekly newsletter, and we get updates from federal updates, what's going on Capitol Hill, all the way down to all the different regions. So you'll have articles from what CSF is doing and working on and engaged in from all over the country. So you can go on to our website. It's congressionalsportsmen.org, and you can basically go and sign up for the Sportsman's Voice and get a weekly newsletter, and it doesn't cost anything, and it's a good way to kind of figure out what's going on.
The thing I like about it is you get, like you said, it's from all across the country, all different states and everything, and what's going on federally as well. And I don't read them from top to bottom every week, but I do glance through and see what's going on. And if there's something that, piques my curiosity, I'll read it. But that way, you never know. There might be something going on out in the Dakotas, and who knows? We may go out there and bird hunt or deer hunt one day, and it's like, oh yeah, there might be some new legislation that maybe put some money in to do habitat work, and that's where you're hunting. There's, it helps you stay up to date on what's going on, and is not just your backyard, but everywhere else as well.
Absolutely, and it's definitely important too, because a lot of the times, people get upset when things go on, that when regulations change, but a lot of times that when people start getting upset is when they start being rolled out. The opportunity to affect change has already come and gone. Mm-hmm. So it's the Sportsman's Voice is a good way to kind of stay up to date on what's going on currently, so that way if something starts going on in your backyard that you're not too happy about, it's a good way for you to get ahead of the curve, as opposed to just getting mad because it's passed or it's done and there's nothing you can do about it at that point in time anymore.
Absolutely.
We just give them your name, Ellary.
Perfect. I know who to send them to if I can't help them.
That's right. I want to throw the slate up here again about responsible recreation before we let you go. Taking the pledge. Here's a picture. You can go on your guys' website, I assume, and there's all these slides are up there, and you can grab them and put them on your own Facebook page. Is that right?
They are not, but if people are interested in wanting to do it, they can just put their own photos up and just make sure to put the hashtag responsible recreation in the caption, and they're they're part of the movement.
Okay, so use the hashtag responsible recreation. I got that slide up now. It's got it on there, and
Yep.
you know, and you say, hey, I took the pledge with your photo, whatever you're doing in the outdoors. So,
Yep.
and get over to the website as well and take a peek at it. But is there anything else that we missed on that we need to cover?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of covered it all. You know, there's a lot of organizations that have already kind of started supporting this movement and this campaign. Just to name a few, you know, Cryptech, Huck Gear, Carbon TV, Browning, FN, BASS, BASS. So there's a lot of really big organizations that are a part of this, that are supporting this. So, you know, it's a big deal. It's a good thing.
It's a big movement. That's awesome. Do you foresee being maybe in the bigger trade shows like maybe SHOT Show or the ATA show next year, you know, and pushing some of these agendas as well? I don't think I've ever seen a booth at ATA that I recall.
As far as for CSF or for responsible recreation or both?
Well, CSF and pushing their, you know, their support on things like that.
Right. So CSF definitely attends SHOT Show. I don't believe that we had a booth last year, but we were definitely there.
Okay.
So we're definitely at a lot of these larger trade shows. I was just at the one in Salt Lake City, the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo
Okay.
in February. So absolutely. I mean, and like I said, responsible recreation is just starting to take off, and you know, I think it's definitely going to evolve past COVID and kind of see how it can continue to keep promoting and educating people on how to be responsible outdoors.
Well, yeah, the message alone, it just overreaches COVID, you know, as well. I mean, just in just the normal everyday life of an outdoorsman. I mean, we can use all of these things to help promote the outdoors in a good way. So I think it's great. Well, I'll tell you what, we're wrapping up here the third segment here of the show. We're going to go ahead and let you go. I appreciate you taking some time with us and sitting down for 45 minutes or so here to talk about this. Like I said, get over to their website again. Once again, Ellary is?
The Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, or you can go to responsible-recreation.org.
All right. Well, we're going to take a step outside. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Danny a little bit about what he's been doing this week up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So we're going to step outside. We'll take our last break, and we'll be right back after this.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll connect. You know, next time you guys got something big that you want to push out, let us know, and we'll be glad to have you back on as well. And let me know when you come back from that hunt too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Thanks again.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Danny, you still with us?
I am sitting right here.
All right. Let me save this one off here, and we'll get going with the next segment here.
You know, I'm just sitting here in a parking lot of a grocery store getting good reception in the UP.
That's good. It's good that you get good reception in the UP.
I got to go find it, but it's all right.
We appreciate the good reception. So.
Right?
All right. I'll save that one off. And here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Last segment of the show. I got Danny here with me. He's in the Up North Journal, Up North, the UP. We got to come up with a name for the UP cabin. Maybe that's what we call it, the UP cabin.
I'm good with the UP cabin.
I got to put that down below you there on the screenshot, so that way everybody knows where you're at. I just got
Right, exactly.
Oh, actually, I got you in the wrong spot. I got Nampa, Idaho. That was supposed to be for Ellary in case you didn't make the show. So,
Ooh, okay.
So we'll see if we can't change that. But I tell you what, why don't you tell me what you've been doing, what you've been up to up there?
Oh man, what a week I've had up here. The weather has been phenomenal. We've had just a touch of rain last Friday and maybe a shower here and there. 2 days ago, about 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Today's Wednesday, so yeah, Monday or Tuesday, I was out working the property in the rain, and it was nice because it was hot, and it's been hot. Today it got up into the 90s, and being out in the bush in the 90s, it's a little bit of a sweat factory, but you know, it feels good to be working on the property, putting in the time and the effort. Today I was cutting in a trail or two, improving them a little bit, cutting back the weeds so I can get access to it a little easier off of an access point that I want to. But yeah, it's been nice up here. Did some fishing. You had that picture of me fishing. So yeah, the weather is just phenomenal. It's been a great week, and just working on the property, around the cabin, doing some stuff, and having fun.
All right, I got your location fixed. I got you.
Thanks.
I got you in Crystal Falls, so we got your location right finally.
Yep. But yeah, no, it's been a phenomenal week. Weather couldn't have been better at all. It's been hot. It's been humid. Check the cameras from Memorial Weekend to present. We've got some bears with triplets.
Wow.
We've got some coyotes. But other than that, the deer look really healthy. They look really good. We're seeing a lot of deer. We're seeing a few babies, which is nice. We're seeing a lot more in the way of tracks, the smaller ones, so that's a good sign.
Antler growth?
Yeah. What was that?
Seeing antler growth yet on trail cameras?
A little bit.
Okay.
Nothing to write home about yet, and I usually don't see that up here. It'll be the next set from July to September when I come back. Is when I starting to pick up who's growing, who's not growing. There's a couple of tracks out there that I do want to hopefully get a picture of, because for being the heavy on the hoof at this point, they got to be some nice deer.
Right, there you go. Hopefully there's some older age class bucks that happen to present a nice shot for you here this fall. So
that's part of it. Getting up here, working the trails, working the property, looking to what I'm going to plant in September, looking at the fields, how they're doing. My cousin's got some soybeans planted. They're looking really good. He's been they're working the land. He's got his soybeans planted. They're coming up really good. I'll have I got a lot of clover in the fields right now that looks really good, and I got that camera is very active with deer just grazing through it, so that's nice.
Okay, 2 questions. First one, the apple trees that you planted 2 years ago, how are they doing?
Okay, so the apple trees, for the most part, are not doing well. A bunch of them are probably gone. They got the fencing got knocked down, and the deer just got at them, and they went after them, and that was it.
It was game on, huh?
Oh yeah, they just bulldozed the fencing that I had. Unless I'm gonna have to go with a steel fence practically, but and so those are probably going to be all gone.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And then you said clearing shooting lanes and things of that nature. I know you had your property logged 3 years ago, I think, if memory serves me correct.
3 years ago this summer.
So what does it look like now on your regeneration?
Gosh. It's fun to see how thick the aspens and everything have come back. Where the first month or two you were driving the property and you were like, uh-oh, what did I do? But now you take 5 feet, a 5 foot jump into the thick stuff, and you're out of sight. So we got a lot of that going off right from the road in some spots. It is a good 10, 15, 20 feet tall in some spots, thick. The fields that you could see quite a ways are getting surrounded now with all the new growth aspen, so they're becoming more secluded, and it's really nice. Then the boundary areas that we did not touch, we only select cutted the bad trees out of. Everything's looking good in there. There's some new growth coming up, but yeah, the property overall that we had logged is regenning great.
That's good to hear. I always like to hear good success stories, because typically when people cut their timber, like you said, what did I do? The first time I went in on our cut, I was our camp manager. He's like, well, he says, what do you think? Because he was waiting for me to say the same thing, and I'm like, no, that's progress.
Nope, that's exactly what my forester. He pulled me aside, and he asked me. He goes, "What do you think?" 3 years ago, and I said, "Wow," but I said, "It's got to start somewhere."
Right.
And I know it's going to take time. And I asked him certain questions like, okay, what are we looking at for growth per year? And he says, oh, good years, you're going to have more, about 3 to 7 feet per year, and depending on where you're at. And I knew it going in. You got to erase the blackboard, which we did. And now everything's coming back. We've got food plots. We're starting. We're continuing to work on. We're getting the soil test done. We're looking what we can add, what we can grow. You got it. You got it. It's, I guess you want to call it a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have faith. And we hired a forester, and I laid it out to him. I said, dude, you're the expert. I'm trusting you to do what's right.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing you got to you got to put trust in them. If you don't know what the outcome is going to be or what you need to do, then yeah, you got to put your faith in them. So
absolutely, and that's what I did. And 3 years down the road here, this will be our third fall. I'm really liking it. I'm really liking the way we can get in there and do some things, change something around. What I thought might have changed in some areas doesn't look like it's changing from last year. So it's interesting. I thought the deer would change their patterns, but they really haven't in one area. In another area, they might have changed, and we're still trying to read that on the property with cameras and seeing. We moved a new camera into a different location. That was kind of we think it should be a good spot, and we'll find out. That's all we can do is
okay.
Put cameras out and see what's happening.
That was kind of be another question I have for you. You was talking about deer movement things. Is there anything that when you got up to camp and you start looking things over, whether it be trail cam photos, the growth, regrowth, and regen, or what have you, is there anything that you went, wow, didn't expect that? Is there anything that caught you by surprise this season when you got up there?
The only thing that's caught me by surprise is some of the spots that aren't coming back like I thought they would. Mm-hmm. Which I thought there would be more growth in these a couple of spots that I was like, wow, I thought there'd be more growth, but there isn't. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So, okay, it's not as thick as other spots. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll go with it. And it's an area that we don't hunt anyways, but the deer, it isn't growing back thick per se with trees, but like the ferns right now in some spots are taller than me. And I'm a short guy at 5'5", 5'4".
That's still big ferns.
Right, exactly. I'm walking into these ferns and they're getting above my head. So it's like, okay, there's no trees here.
What are you feeding the ferns?
Right, exactly. And it's just that it's that sunshine and they're just growing up. Right. Now I will tell you, it's been an ongoing war with ticks. They are ticking me off, literally.
Okay.
It's been tick fest. I literally walked from my car to the front door of the cabin 15 feet and had a tick on my leg.
Well, they're attracted to you. They want some.
No idea where he came from, but there he was. I'm like, really?
They want some of that default blood.
I don't know what it is, but man, they are bad this year, and whew, it is like tick check 101 every time. Whether you're just going out for morning coffee, mm-hmm. which that's what we usually get a cup of Hunter's Blend coffee, which we're on dark roast this week.
What do you think about that?
It's good stuff.
I got mine right here.
Go sit on the front porch, just kick back, just listen to nature, and just get ready to start your day. Beautiful. Well, so it's one of those things, but there's just a couple of spots overall that it's like, wow, I didn't know. I thought it would come back a little bit better, but it is coming back, but in a different sense.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, that's what experimentation's all about. So.
Right, exactly. I know I got my soil samples back on my 2 plots that I sent in. I'm low, so whether it be this fall or next spring, I'll be adding more lime and fertilizer and trying to get a good till on them to get that turnover going. But it had a good time up here.
Well, that's good. You look good. You look refreshed. I see the old chin growth coming in there nicely. So.
That'll be gone tomorrow night when I get home. I'm not gonna lie, it's coming off.
Oh, so you're heading back?
Yeah, we're gonna leave Thursday morning, head back, so we're home for the weekend, and just kind of ease into next week I go back to work next Monday. So it's just one of those things. Figure I'd get back. Nothing's going around in town, so I'll probably get out the. Did you unveil?
No, I did not.
No.
No, it's still sitting right there.
Okay.
No, we talk with who were we talking with last week? We was talking about. I can't remember who we talked to last week.
Derek Vaughn over at.
That's right, Derek. Okay, that's right, over at Sunrise Archery. Yeah, we mentioned that at the beginning of the show, and we got done with the show, and I'm like, didn't even talk about the bow. I got it's still sitting in the box right here. So no, I still got it.
I'll unveil what I got.
Well, do you want me to go ahead? I can reach right over here and get it. I mean, we got.
No, don't do it right now. Let's just do our show, and then we'll do individual reveals.
Okay. Sounds fair enough. So yeah, so there's nothing, no festivals, no fireworks, no nothing going on
up here.
Yeah.
Up here. Okay. Up here.
Come on,
have a good old time.
Well,
down by us, we're gonna sit at home like fuddy-duddies.
Well, there's very few fireworks going off anywhere around here. Today, the governor shut down all of the liquor establishments. You can buy alcohol. You can go to a restaurant that serves alcohol, but you can't drink unless you're sitting down eating. You can't go to the bar. You have to take it and leave. And to me, it was called, what was the term? I forget the term they used. But it's basically you can get it and go. And I thought, okay, so you're going to order whatever drinks, and then you're going to put them in a vehicle and take off.
Oh yeah. So up here they're having a 4th of July parade in the town over. They're going to be serving. They want the kids to come out. They're going to be serving popcorn, or they're going to be serving Cracker Jacks. Actually, is one of the things.
Okay.
But they're planning to have a fireworks celebration the night of the 4th and shoot off fireworks, and they're having a good time up here.
Yeah, I worry about a lot of that with people, a lot of people, especially down here now. We're not going to have fireworks celebrations, so a lot of people, we did a story at the news today about people buying fireworks. They're buying a lot more than they normally would because they're going to light them off. So
you got to have your own.
You're going to have your own little show. But right now, we're 90 degrees plus all week, ultra dry. Fire danger is going to be high. I just wonder how many wildfires we're going to wind up having here in the state this weekend because of that. And I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody's fun. I'm just saying, if you're going to light them off, you need to do it safely.
It's reality, is because it's been dry up here.
Yeah. We
had a little bit of rain, but I get it. I mean, it's drying up pretty quick here.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to happen. Spark here or a flame there or whatever, and it could lead. Probably on Sunday or Monday's show you'll be doing an article about that.
Yeah, we actually had one last year, or was it early this spring? I can't remember. I think it was early this spring. We had one close to our property up north.
Okay.
That run through an adjoining property that we know the owners of, and it's like, eesh,
right?
You don't want that to happen to your place and burn the woods down, so.
Wrong kind of clearing burn that you want to have.
Yeah, that's not a controlled burn.
There you go. Exactly.
Not at all. There'll be no controlled burns going on.
I'll be back in town tomorrow night and get ready for the 4th of July and watch my dogs go crazy.
All right. Well, by the time everybody sees this, 4th of July will be over. It'll be Sunday evening. So, you got, like I said, if you guys got questions, throw them on the screen there, or send them to us in the PM, and we'll try to answer them for you. So.
And if we got questions for Ellary that was earlier in the show, we'll get them to her, and we'll let them answer.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you what. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. For those of you on the podcast, go over to our social media pages. Give us a like, give us a follow, share the show if you would, please. And if you could, go over to iTunes, give us a review over there. That helps us out as well. And for those of you watching the live stream, we ask the same thing. Go over to our social media pages, give us a like, a follow, a share. Subscribe to us over on YouTube as well. That helps us out as well over there. So that's going to do it for us for our pre-recorded 4th of July show. I'd light a bunch of fireworks off right now, but I don't have them, so we're just going to have to leave you with our slate that we always put up at the end of the show. And y'all enjoy, be safe, and we'll see y'all again next week.